I have figured out some incredible stuff and I made a breakthrough. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. So my name is Chris, and I was diagnosed late in life with both ADHD and autism. In this video, I am going to share with you 6 adjustments that I made to help me live a fuller and happier life. The first thing I want to talk about is adjusting expectations for myself. Realizing my limits. So I was going through these pull, crash cycles. I'm an extremely motivated and ambitious human being. I love building companies, growing companies. I love being active. I love traveling. I like doing things and learning things. The problem was I was pushing myself too hard. In my mind, I was setting up certain expectations and certain goals, and they were a little bit lofty, a little bit of a stretch at times, but I always figured out a way to do it. Sometimes at the expense of sleep, eating healthy, my overall mental health. I think for a chunk of my life, that was fine. I was able to do it, but as I got older, that became a little bit trickier, and I started having more frequent meltdowns, and the work was becoming harder and more challenging, and I wasn't doing well. The adjustment I made is I'm gonna work and I'm gonna push and I'm gonna do the things that I like, but when my body tells me that I need to rest and I need to sleep, I'm gonna listen to it. And I am going to comply with my body. My body? So the other thing that fits with this adjusting expectations for myself is giving myself time every day for my special interests. And I remember looking over my schedule thinking, this is insane. I'm busy. How am I gonna get all of this stuff done? It's impossible. I said, you know what? I'm gonna redistribute and reallocate. I'm gonna reassess all of this. And I'm going to prioritize my special interests. Whether that's focusing on design, whether that's building wooden models, whether it's watching a nature show, I'm gonna do it every day. This adjustment that I made has been extremely helpful for my mental and physical health. The second adjustment I made is a big one. I adjusted my work habits. I was the managing director of a pretty large educational company, and I oversaw a staff of 84 people at one time. It was very, very stressful because through that entire operation, whenever I was at work, it was 100% masking the whole time, and extremely exhausting having several different conversations throughout the day with all different kinds of people. People with autism, we always overthink things. We're pretty sensitive to stuff. Sometimes we have a hard time filtering what we're saying. We have different rules and we have different ideas about how to communicate, and it works for us, but it doesn't always appear to work for non-autistic people, and it can cause problems. And when you're overseeing people and you're in a executive management role, you have to be conscientious of those things. So I suffered immensely in order to do a good job, which was important to me. So I would come home sometimes and throw up. Sometimes I would wake up in the morning and throw up. There were times where I would bawl in the shower because I was so stressed and worried about how a particular conversation was going. I reshuffled all of that up, and I decided that my role was going to change within the company. And what I was going to do was oversee my senior leadership team. And that was it. So that meant I was going to work with a total of 5 individuals. And the great thing about that is one of those individuals is my wife, Debbie. So then that was awesome. I actually really enjoy working with Debbie a lot. She's fun to work with. She's extremely smart. She's also very accommodating and supportive for me, having both ADHD and autism. She's also extremely attractive. The other 4 were individuals that I had worked with for a long time. So I disclosed my autism to them, and I think over time, and it didn't even take that long, it just became very cohesive. They were a very supportive group. They're very patient. They are perfectly accommodating to me up and leaving a meeting a little bit abruptly and then coming back. They're okay with me getting up during meetings and just pacing around the room. They were basically okay with me being who I needed to be at work. The other adjustment I made regarding work is I gave myself flexibility with my schedule. So this was important because in the past, I would overschedule meetings and do all kinds of things, and it would start early in the morning. But there were times where I did not sleep well at night. So I would wake up just like like that. I didn't feel good. I had a tough time doing things under those circumstances. So what I did is I told myself, hey, your schedule is going to be a little bit flexible with regards to when you start. If you don't sleep well and you need more sleep, go for it. If you need to take a break and come home and do an hour or a 2-hour nap, okay, do it. If you need to cut a day a little bit short, no problem. And I think it worked out really well because I also operate on a 7-day-a-week schedule. So when I do work, and I call it work because I don't know what else to call it, for the most part, I really enjoy it. I'm very passionate about it. When I wake up on Saturday or Sunday, I want to do my work. I want to keep doing it, So I think having that attitude or that desire to do the things that I want and really truly enjoy them was helpful because I don't just operate on a 5-work day a week and then live for the weekend kind of mentality. I'm happy to do it 7 days a week. So I was fortunate enough to be able to be more flexible with my work schedule. That has been very, very helpful because on the days where I did not sleep well or have been struggling with my health, I take the time and I'm allowed to do that. The third adjustment I made is I have reduced the amount of social events that I go to and the amount of time I spend in busy areas. I used to have to do a lot of social events. I used to have to go to work events. I used to, Debbie used to schedule a lot of lunches and outings and, we'd be networking and doing all kinds of stuff. And it was hard for me. I didn't really open up to Debbie about how harmful it was to the inside of my body because I didn't want to be a downer because she seemed to be having so much fun at these things. I didn't want to take those opportunities away from her. So I sucked it up. I swallowed it, packaged it deep inside my body, kind of hung out in my butt. But eventually it took its toll. And as Debbie started learning more about autism and I started learning more about autism, that was an adjustment we agreed upon. And I would hang out with individuals that I truly cared about when I was ready. The other thing is, if it's busy or crowded, I rarely go. It's just not worth it to me. So I love sports and I like the idea of watching a live sporting event, but going to them sucked. So I watch them on TV. That's how we do it. If I have to go to a mall or a shopping, what do they call it, grocery store, I don't go on Saturdays or Sundays. I go at times that I know are not going to be crowded. There's been a few instances where I've actually gone into a mall and there was no one there. You go in there and you're just like, yes! It's like you found the biggest treasure in the world. And that's awesome. I also went to a movie. Movie theaters are tough for me sometimes, but I've gone to movies where Debbie and I are the only ones in the theater. And it's awesome. But we don't do anything inappropriate, if that's what you're thinking. The fourth adjustment I made is a big one, and I was worried about it. I was worried about this one for a little while because I did not want to lose friends. And honestly, after I started making adjustments, some of the relationships I had sort of faded away. It was tough. I didn't really like that. There was moments where after my diagnosis, advocating for myself and making these adjustments, not everyone was compliant with it and not everyone agreed with it. And that's just, it sucks, but that's how life is. And in the short term, it hurt for sure. It was sad. But in the medium term and long term, it's what needed to be done. My socializing and my friends have to make adjustments for me. I guess there's, and this sounds a little bit selfish. I'm listening to myself talk thinking, what a selfish prick. It's not all like that, and I'm going to explain to you why. So my buddies come to me. They will come to my area, either my apartment or my part of town, and we will patron places that I'm very comfortable and familiar with, basically on my schedule. That's absolutely important because When that happens, I'm able to give them my attention. I'm able to focus on what they're saying. I'm able to have a good time with them. And I don't cancel under those circumstances. Because in the past, it would be, I'd have to, take public transportation and boogie across town to a venue that I wasn't familiar with. And that was stressful. I'd have anxiety a lot. And sometimes it was so bad, the stomach and the diarrhea, that I couldn't do it. I couldn't leave, and I'd cancel right before. And I think that's kind of frustrating. But with these adjustments, coming to my area, coming to my venues, coming to my apartment, I show my appreciation by preparing the meals. I'll cook for my buddies and prepare the snacks. Some of them are delicious. I've gotten pretty fancy schmancy at some of my dips. And then the other thing is I'll treat them to food too when we go to cafes, or if we go to a bar, which we don't go too often because I don't particularly enjoy that scene, but the places where I do go to socialize, I have no problems treating them. The fifth adjustment I've made is regarding my food. I eat what I want to eat most of the time. Sometimes I forget to eat vegetables, and then that makes Debbie a little bit cranky. You today are going to be my witnesses. She wants to make sure that I eat all my vegetables. She's perfectly cool with me eating the same food, the same dish over and over and over again for weeks or months. If I just up and get tired of that dish, she's cool with it. She'll eat one thing, I'll eat another. And if I want to make myself the same thing, it's perfectly acceptable. And I do that. I used to feel weird about it, but now I don't. And I also eat the way that I want to eat. So if I want to eat something cold or room temperature, that's what I do. If I want to mix food in a weird way, I do it. And if other people think it's weird or they don't like it, sorry. Sorry. I'm going to do it. And I don't know if other autistics are watching this and you have similar experiences, but eating in front of people, that sucked for me. I did not like it. I felt really uncomfortable a lot. I don't know if this is a combination of ADHD, autism, or just because I'm a little bit sloppy, but I would get food, dripping down the chin, and I would not know that for a long time. Or sometimes I would take bites that were a little bit too big and I would have a hard time chewing it. Sometimes I would just put food in my mouth and it was too hot and I'm like, oh shit, and spit it right back out. But I've learned to adapt and be nicer to myself. And that's not to say I'm going to go out and be like, oh, there's food, that kind of weird stuff. I'm okay eating food the way that I want to eat it, at the speed that I want to eat it, in the way that I want to eat it, at the temperature I want to eat it. And that's helped me out a lot. The last adjustment that I've made is I wear what I want to wear most of the time. There are times when if I'm leading a workshop or I'm doing something work related, I have to wear a nice button down and some slacks. You got to look good. You can't I can't roll in there with pajamas, or can I? Most of the time now I wear comfortable pants. I wear my Kingstead t-shirts. I talk about the Kingstead t-shirts a lot because they are tagless. They are really, really soft cotton. They have every color imaginable and they're pretty cheap. So I have a lot of those and I love them, and that's what I wear. And then I also wear these, I have a few different kinds of hoodies that I wear. I have this style, and then I have one that's a little bit thicker, and they're really soft. And also, no tags. So I feel really comfortable. I don't get that irritable itch. Because when you're autistic, if the texture bothers your skin, your brain swells up. And it's like a flashing alarm, a siren in your brain, constantly, and you can't tune it out. It will not go away, regardless of what you have to do or who you have to listen to. So I got tired of that. I got tired of being uncomfortable and then having that flare, that distraction in my brain constantly while having to listen to people or be productive. It sucked. Now that I wear comfortable clothes, I don't have that particular problem. So there you have it. 6 adjustments I've made to help improve my life dramatically. What adjustments have you made in your life? Share those in the comments. Shout out to my Neato Cube. I love these Neato Cubes so much. There's like a little green light. I can look at the green light. Like, green light, go. I think I got it. Let me get some water. Debbie always wants me to drink more water. It just doesn't taste like anything.